Buongiorno. Buongiorno, welcome everybody. Now ready to start our meeting. Hopefully it will be useful to all of you who have been given an Erasmus for study destination in a UK university. This session was thought to help you with the next steps to be undertaken in order to make your mobility the better possible. Before starting, and in order to make it easier for everybody, both speaking and listening, I would like to check if there are among you students who really need that this session is held in English, because it would be easier for the most of us, apart from Professor Anderson, who is a native speaking English. It would be easier to speak in Italian, but we don't have problem. We thought to do it in English in order not to repeat this session twice, and also in view of the fact that you will be leaving for UK, so of course you are more than able to follow the English version. So my question is, are there students who need that this session is really held completely in English, or can we do something mixed, or we can switch to Italian? Simona, how can we check this? Maybe you can write in the chat if there are among you students who really need to attend in English. Are there students who speak only English or not able to understand Italian?
And excuse me, can they get into the chat if they are in streaming?
Yes.
They are able to get into the chat, or do they need to be in the WebEx room with us? That's just my question.
Yeah, they can write in the chat. If there are students who prefer English, please give a sign on the chat, write your yes or something, give us a sign. Otherwise, maybe we can speak Italian.
Ok, il motivo per cui lo chiedevo è che io nella chat vedo solo me stessa e altre 3 persone. Le altre persone che sono, diciamo, in streaming, avete fatto un YouTube, è possibile che non riescano a interagire. È così? Cioè non vorrei che loro possano ascoltare ma non porre domande.
Ho capito cosa vuol dire, perché se vedo a chi scrivo, infatti posso scrivere solo a noi. Questo è...
Cioè, quindi diciamo, se ci doveva essere un componente interattiva, è difficile, perché non sono nella stanza, ecco, diversamente magari da una lezione, ecco, quindi...
non riesco nemmeno io a scrivere sulla chat al momento. Ho provato a mettere un messaggio, ma non lo manda. Okay, so while we try to solve this problem with the chat, I would suggest to start our session in English, as it was mentioned in the program, and then if we can move to Italian, we will do it, or we can try to speak both languages. The idea is, even if we announce that this meeting will be lasting until 1 p.m., we think that we can make it shorter, because you know that there is not many of you. We are not the numbers that we used to be when we speak about the Erasmus, traditional Erasmus, let's say the European Erasmus, where we have 500 students in the same meeting. This time we are only less than 50 students, so maybe we don't have so many questions. Maybe we can be a little bit quicker with the information, even if we will try to be as complete as possible. So before starting our work and giving the technical and logistic information and academic information and very important information that you are invited to follow with attention, before this, I leave the floor to Dottoressa Poggialini, who is the head of the International Relations Division, and will give you some welcome words and the introduction to our informative session. So please, Annalisa, thank you.
Thank you, Tiziana. Good morning, dear students. And I start with giving you my congratulations for your result, for having been an Erasmus grant holder for the UK. I am completely sure that this would be an important experience for your study and for your life. And we really hope that in the next academic year, the change may be in presence, even if, of course, you could do it also in a virtual or blended mobility. Blended, you know, that means that you could do at least 3 months in presence and others in virtual. It is the last time that the virtual mobility will be possible, because it is not considered in the next Erasmus program. So consider that this is an opportunity also for you in case, but we hope that it will not occur. You can consider also the virtual mobility. We have arranged this meeting in order, as Tiziana has already told you, to give you more information about different aspects, didactic, logistic, practical, administrative, and so on, that of course you could find in our notice, but maybe we know that is not enough sometimes. So please do not hesitate to ask her if you need something, because this is an important experience, because it's an experience outside Europe. Consider that UK now is not considered as a program countries inside the Erasmus program, but as a partner countries. And considering that you need more information than the other students that will do this experience inside the university, in the European universities. Problems regarding visa, certificate of English, of a language, and so on. And so please pay particular attention to all the information that my colleague will give you. And I take the chance, of course, to thank you, Dr. Issa Barbara Rossi, for the academic recognition rules and procedure, Professor Issa Anderson, for an overview of the current legal rules, even if we know that it's not very clear that all information are now completely no, but in any case, we try to give you all the best. And later, when we finish more or less our meeting, Professor Vesichelli, who is our Vice Rector for International Relations, will give you some academic relevance for the importance of Erasmus study period in the UK. And I think that it's important to start with this information. So I kindly ask Dr. Issa Barbara Rossi, I think this is now the time to speak about starting or not. Sorry, perhaps before it's better to start with my colleague Tiziana Gatti for the general overview of the management of Erasmus mobility issues, considering that the importance of doing it, I repeat, in a non-European country. Thank you, Tiziana.
Okay, pardon me if I interrupt just a moment. I have a message from the only student who is actually in the room with us and has now left. She said that that the students who are connected via YouTube are not able to send messages or write. So if you want this to be an interactive session, they would need to receive the link that we are currently using. Alice Deriu, who was in the room with us until a couple of minutes ago, somehow got the link by mistake. Perhaps I sent it to her. I apologize. So if you want them only to be connected through YouTube, they won't be able to ask questions because we won't be able to see them. Okay. Okay. In other words, they would need invited into this room in order to interact. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Anderson. So, Tiziana?
Okay, so let's try to start, and in any case, we will leave the floor to the question. We will answer the question that we will receive during the session at the end of all the panelists' speech. So please go ahead with writing your question, and we will you will have time until the end of our information session. So let's start with that. And as Annalisa just said, congratulations for having been given the grant. I don't know if you know this, but you have been competing with a lot of your colleagues because we got a lot of application when we open our call for this UK destination. That is a very we are very pleased about that because, of course, we work for that to offer this opportunity. At the same time, we are sorry for the students who did not manage to get a grant, which doesn't mean that they didn't deserve it, but it's just a matter of scores that on the basis of which the destination have been assigned. So I say this just to invite you to try to do your best to get the best out of this experience, and to make this, it is important that we follow the envisaged procedure to achieve credits abroad in UK university, and before that to organize your stay in the best way in order to have the time to enjoy the experience fully. So after that you have been given the destination, what we did in the office is to nominate you at the host university. So we wrote a message to our UK partners where we announced that you had been given the grant and that you'd be living in the next academic year for their university. And we asked them kindly to send you all the information to organize your stay. This is a crucial point in all the story of your mobility grant, because it's the start of your connection with the host university. So hopefully most of you, and all of you, I would prefer all of you, but surely most of you should have received a message from the UK university where it said congratulations on welcome or something like that. And after these kind words, there are some technical issues that you must answer to, and some documents that you have to send back, and instruction on how to apply, and how and when send all the requested documents. In general, this information package, that's how we used to call it. This information package contains an application form where you must put your data, and you must express the period when actually you like to stay at the host university, and some other personal information. Moreover, there is a learning agreement where you must express, you must inform about the courses and the didactical activities that you would like to take at the host university. And there could be an accommodation form, because all the university participating in the Erasmus program, even if we know that for the UK this is a story which is going to come to an end shortly, but for this year, still for this year, they are participating in the Erasmus program, and they are following the Erasmus program rules, which also imply that the university are obliged, let's say, to offer you some accommodation proposal. Sometimes this could be accommodation in a campus where the university has a university campus, or some proposals, some offers for private accommodation, or some solution, some different solution, depending on where you are ready to go to stay. So this information package containing, I repeat, application form, learning agreement, and accommodation form should have been received by you in the last days. If this did not yet happen, please wait some additional days, and after that, please write us to erasmus.out@unici.it. That is our email address for communication with you about the Erasmus grant, and tell us that you were not contacted by the UK university, because this could be happen for some kind of problems, like wrong or an old email address that has been contacted by us, or some new modalities of nomination that we were not aware of, and that we should attend in order to properly nominate you, because sometimes we just send an email with your contact details and data, but more and more times we need to go in an online platform and fill in some forms where nominate you this way. So sometimes we don't do it right, but we have to repeat the procedure. So if you were not contacted by the host university until now, and you will not be contacted, let's say, until the end of this week, please write us, because there could be a problem, a communication problem with them. This is the first thing, as you understand, because the contact with the host university is the main pillar of all this story, because without that, if you are not accepted by them, and if your plan of study is not accepted by them, all the rest of our talk is quite unuseful. So please take care to receive the message and to respond to all the requested documents that they are asking you in time. That's the first thing. Said this, there are other aspects which must be considered by you, and one of these, that is, let's say, the easiest one, is the connection with our office. In the end, our office is in charge only, let's say, of the financial aspect linked to your grant. As you could see from the website, all the students who have been given a destination will be also granted with a financial contribution, both the European one coming from the Erasmus Fund, the European Erasmus funds, and the ministerial one coming from the Ministry of Education. So all students, I made a mistake. So all students have been given the Erasmus European grant. And all the students who were in the right, let's say, in the foreseen position with respect to their income, were given the ministerial fund, because the ministerial fund is based on the income of the students. So both the fact that they got it or didn't get it, and the amount of money which is given are linked to this data that is on your student profile. But of course, we got enough funds to grant all the students with the destination with a financial contribution. And moreover, especially for students going to UK, the University of Siena granted a special and an extra fund of €500, not per month, but in total, which will be given to all the students living to UK, because as Professor Anderson, who kindly accepted to intervene in our session, will tell you afterwards, there could be and there will be costs, special costs for students going to UK due to the new rules after the Brexit. So in order to help you with this extra cost of this experience of study abroad, the University of Siena will grant €500, additional €500 to each student living to UK. Still speaking about money, I tell you, even if this is written in our notice of selection that is still on the web, but that I kindly invite you to read and to refer to always, because that's the basis of your grant, of your mobility grant management. But I will repeat how this money will be given and paid to you. So. The grant will be paid on the basis of a financial agreement that you will be asked to fill and sign before leaving. Normally, we ask to send this document about 2 weeks before departure. This is for two reasons. The first one is that we will give you money quite soon after the signature, after the financial agreement exchange. And the second reason is because at that time, I mean 2 weeks before departure, it will be quite sure that you will be actually leaving, and you will be quite sure about the dates of your stay, both the departure date and the coming back date. Because on that document, you must include these 2 dates, and on the basis of this period, we will calculate the actually due grant. Because what you see on the web is the maximum grant that you will be given if you really stay the months which are indicated in the same table. But if you stay a shorter period, of course, the grant will be paid on the basis of the actual effective day of your stay. So on the financial agreement, you must indicate what you think will be the period of your stay. Of course, things can change, especially in this period. We know how we are. We must be ready to change our plans in a minute, but on the financial agreement, you must try to be as real as possible with respect to the period, because that is the basis for the payment of your grant. The grant is paid for what concerns the European part, is paid the 80% as first amount, and is paid after that you show us that you actually left, that you actually are in UK. So you will send from the UK university where you will be at that time, you will send us a certificate signed and stamped by the host university, which states the date of your arrival, of the start of your mobility. And you will send it to us to the same email address which I mentioned before, erasmus.out@unic.it. We will receive the certificate saying that you actually left and that you are in the UK university, together with the proof of your travel. That could be the boarding pass or the visa stuff, but we would prefer the boarding pass. So we will be sure that you actually left and that you are there, and we will soon pay you the 80% of the total amount of the European part, and we will pay, and for the one of you who had the right to receive also the ministerial part, we will pay you the half of that, still calculated on the basis of the period that you indicated in the financial agreement. After that you finish your period, at the end of your mobility period, you will have to go back to the same office or person or whatever who stated the departure, the start date of your mobility, and you must put in the same certificate the end date of your mobility. And you will send it to us after that you finish your period. And on the basis of that, there is a nice instrument given by the European Commission that is called Mobility Tool. We will put the dates on this instrument, on this tool, and this will tell us the exact amount of the due grant. So the balance will be paid after that you conclude that you finish your mobility period. For the financial part, I'm asking Simona if there is something else about that, because she's the one making the actual payments, so she's smiling, so that could be a good sign. But only I add that for the one of you who have the DSEU grant, please refer to their offices, because there is another financial help coming from them that is named International Mobility Grant. But we do not deal with that. So please refer directly to the Agenda Regionale per il Diritto allo Studio Universitario, and ask them how to move, how to get this extra contribution from them. Okay, that's all about money, I think. And then if you have questions, please write down on the chat that hopefully now was properly. Thanks, Simona. And that's all about money. I mentioned another important point, which I read in your numerous email, that is about the period, which I mentioned with referring to the money. This is a matter of money, the period that you stay abroad, but it's not just that, because of course the period that you will decide to stay, that can be the one mentioned in the table where there is the list of matriculation number, the destination, and the number of months, could be that period that is already agreed among the university, but could be also a period, a shorter period. It cannot be longer, but could be shorter. So, in case that you would like to, you intend to stay, let's say, 6 months instead of the 9 months that you were given, you can do it. For our office, this is not a problem. We save some money in the end. But of course, the first I don't know, the first person, no, it's not the first office to be consulted, to be informed about your intention to shorten the period is the host university. And this is a very important word, host, because you are hosted there. So you must respect their rules, and any change that you want to make in your original plan must be firstly approved by the host university. So if you intend to shorten your period, and I think this is the case of many of you, please refer as first to the host university. Then if they agree with your intention and this is coherent with the academic calendar of that specific university, you will write us that you like to you would like to shorten your period, so we know that we have more money maybe for some other grants or some other use for other of your colleagues. And of course, you will write these in the financial agreement, which I already mentioned before. So it is possible to shorten the period. This is a question which many of you ask us about. Still about the period, I mentioned another important issue, and then I think there is not much more to say, and I will leave the floor to Professor Bersichelli, who in the meantime joined us. I would like to mention the case that regards quite a number of you of the both assignation, because some of you, I would say about 20, are given both the European Erasmus grant and the UK Erasmus grant. So they are such a good student that they managed to win both the mobilities. In the case of UK, Simona reminds me that I should say mobility rather than grant, because for the UK students, all of you got also the grant, but this is not the same for the European ones, because in that case, we don't have such a huge amount of money, at least for the moment. So not all of you have both the destination and the grant. So we should speak about mobility. Anyway, there are some of you, about 20 students, who got both the destination, the European one and the UK one, for the same academic year, that is the 21-22 academic year. What to do with these students? We cannot decide for you, and we are happy that you could also enjoy both the opportunities. But you must be very careful, because of course you cannot overlap the period. So either you are in UK or you are in Madrid. So you cannot be both places. So you should be so good to organize your year of study, combining both the period and both the academic calendar. I don't know if this is possible. So from a theoretical point of view, this is possible. In practical terms, you must plan your periods of study carefully in order to avoid overlap, of course, in order to make it coherent with the idea behind that, that is to get a number of credits and to have experience abroad and to enjoy it at the best of your possibilities. So I don't know if this is feasible, actually feasible, if you have to live twice for two different host universities. So I invite all of you who got both the destination to think about it, and once that you decide, once you have decided what to do, to inform us, and in case to withdraw one of the two mobilities and to enjoy the other one. Okay, that's all about it. I would leave the floor to Professor Verzichelli, because the next issue after his intervention, the next issue will be the one of Professor Anderson, who will inform us about the procedure and rules to enter and stay in UK. And after that, it will be our colleague, our kind colleague Barbara Rossi from the Students' Office, who will inform us about the academic recognition. That is another very important aspect behind the mobility opportunity. So if you are ready, Professor Verzichelli, I leave you the floor, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me or this is too loud. Okay, thanks, Tiziana. Sorry for that. That's a position I got at the last minute. I don't know how to work with this. So thank you for inviting me to this meeting. This is an organizational meeting, and when organizational meetings are so dense and full of information, I know that in my capacity, let's say, of a representative of the governing bodies and representative of the rector, I don't have to speak too long, which is always a problem to me. But in any case, I wanted to be present, not just to bring a formal address, which is of course something I pleased to do, because this is an important moment when we are going to finalize the process of selection to any kind of mobility scheme. This is in a way a celebration, and I think Annalisa and Tiziana already celebrated this, thanking all the applicants and thanking particularly those who are going to take this opportunity. But I think that this is a peculiar moment, first of all, because this is an exceptional call, and secondly, because this is in a way the late call for keeping a leg of our mobility in UK. A late call, but not a last one. Probably the last one, or one of the few residual calls sponsored by EU money, because as you perfectly know, after the Brexit, we will not be able anymore to fund officially from the Erasmus scheme any mobility to UK. We still have to get this attitude, but we should remember that UK is no more member, and this was, as you perfectly know, a choice from the British people, so we have to respect. We are not happy about that, of course, because we do believe that the UK will remain and has to remain an important partner, an important European partner, geographically speaking, if not politically speaking. And so we will do our best to make this not the last call, but the first of a new generation of mobility schemes, which will be specifically oriented to have a line of priority between our universities, in this case Siena, and the best UK universities. This is not just an attempt, we are working quite hard, and this call is a good evidence for that, because we did organize this mobility perspective, this mobility opportunity in a few weeks, and we were able to keep a good number of British partners. Of course, Tiziana has the numbers here. What is important is to just stress that we are keeping this partnership for the future, not just for this year. So let's say the key word is even in this case, like in the pandemic, resilience. We have to be resilient because we believe that the partnership with British universities is a crucial part, is a strategic partnership for us. And so we thank you. We thank you for keeping this goal alive and keeping this goal viable for the time being and for the future. But of course, let's do our best all together to make this perspective true, and particularly let's help each other with the process. We are leaving the Erasmus, although this is a call organized with thanks to the Erasmus resources, but we are going to have a sort of res ullius, sort of incognita. And under this point of view, I think that the use of any kind of feedback and the use of any kind of information from your experience will be fundamental to improve our capability to cooperate with British universities. This is the main message. Then there is a second message I just want to launch for you. Since you have an important role, because in a way you are the pioneers of a new way of cooperation, and in any case, this is a particular moment for all of us. I don't need to refresh you about how difficult it was to organize mobility in this last, let's say, couple of semesters. Let's take this as an opportunity to make a new win-win scenario. And the new win-win scenario is the fact that since we wanted to keep going with the physical mobility to the best of our university venues and partners, organizing a perfect system of interaction is the best way to invest our time in this difficult moment. For us, it's a joy to think that on September or maybe October, I don't know when you are planning your first move. We have a new relevant bunch of people, group of people ready to go to important universities to complete a significant experience. So let's take this as an opportunity to make not just a better mobility, but even a more, let's say, a new European mobility, even with UK. This is an important message. I think that, of course, I skipped all the other messages that the usual, let's say, disclaimer: try to invest your time, try to study, try to get the best from your experience. I do think that you know already what is the very sense of this. But this year is important because after the depression of the pandemic, this is an opportunity to start again with a new generation of mobile students, and particularly those who are getting to UK. I'm very happy about that, and I wish you the best for your experience as a University of Siena, because you're still Senese students abroad, in this case in UK. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you very much, and for your encouraging words. If Professor Anderson is ready, I will leave her the floor as in the program, and to talk about the specific rules to enter and stay in UK, And we discussed this issue a little bit before our meeting, and we came to the conclusion that we have some certainties, and she will tell us much better than I could. But we also, there are still some remaining uncertainties, let's say. So as I said at the beginning, please, students refer to the message they will get directly from the host university, even if, of course, what Professor Anderson will tell you is very important, also to try to prevent possible problems that could come in the next future while you are organizing your stay. Thank you, Professor Anderson, for your really important help with this matter.
Okay, and thank you very much, Tiziana and colleagues for sharing in real time all of the information that you've received. As Professor Verzichelli said, I think it's really important to take stock of the fact that we're extremely lucky to be able to be sending a significant number of students to the UK next year. And there's a very concrete, message, I think, on the part of the University of Siena, this specific, grant for 500 euro to help out with, some of the extra requirements that are now involved. So I just wanted to say that's certainly very appreciated on the part of those of us who, are strongly invested in keeping these opportunities open. I think the important thing as I move forward here is to say, I think that as Tiziana said, most of you we know have received an assignment for up to 9 months. However, many of the universities in the UK, certainly those that I've been in contact, Birmingham, for example, but I see also Edinburgh has said similar things, are willing, available to reduce the period of your stay to 1 term in order to, if you determine that staying for 9 months is too difficult for you because of some of the new visa requirements. I think most of you are aware by now that Brexit has reintroduced the problem of visas in order to be able to stay as a student in the UK. The good news, as far as we've been able to ascertain, and I feel pretty certain about this by reading, the information from more than one university, is that a stay of up to 6 months is not a particularly more difficult than it would have been a year ago before Brexit. In other words, you will need to be in contact with your destination university to check that if you want to reduce the period that they will allow you to do so. But my understanding is that the procedure for under 6 months is relatively straightforward. First of all, it doesn't require a specific official certification on the part of the immigration service for under 6 months. You will need to respect the eventual requirements for certification at your host university. Some of the universities, again, I make reference to those that I'm following myself, are accepting a declaration for under 6 months on the part of our language center, or that, or your on the basis of your certificato storico, showing that you have a B2 level. Okay, so I guess the important thing is that there are fewer issues about immigration and language requirements if you stay less than 6 months. If you stay more than 6 months, it is more complicated. And I will give you, what I'd like to do is to give you a sense of what it would mean to stay more than 6 months, so that you can decide whether or not you want to go that route. Okay, whether or not you feel that you would be able to to do the visa, the so-called student visa, for more than 6 months. What I've seen so far, certainly the materials that were sent through to me on Tiziana's part, is that the universities that are involved in these exchanges are being very supportive. Okay, they've got actually a dedicated, not just for the Erasmus exchanges, but also dedicated immigration and visa service supporting. It is true that when I've tried to get in contact by email or phone, there can be long waits. For example, I haven't been able to speak directly with Royal Holloway, with whom I follow an exchange. Yes, so there could be some delays in getting that information, but they are definitely organized. So what does it look like if you stay less than 6 months? I'm going to share, if it's okay, with the proviso that this is, some of the information may be only specific to that university, but I think it might be helpful to share a few slides received from Birmingham. It's one of the but about aspects that are have to do in general with the visa situation. Would that be okay, Tiziana? To do that, I would need to be able to share my screen. Let me see if I can do that. Okay.
I think so. I'll ask Simona. Yeah. Is Simona possible to share the screen for Professor Andre? Yeah, she's doing right now. Okay, fine.
I'm doing it now. Okay, super. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, okay, so I want to clarify, as mentioned before, that this is information received from Birmingham, which means that where it's specifically for Birmingham, I'm just going to skip over it, because what I would like to do is to share the common threads, this idea of the visa for, the situation for less than 6 months and for more than 6 months. Okay, so as you can see, this is an immigration update for visa requirements for EU and EEA nationals. I know that there are a few students who are not EU or EEA nationals, certainly among the people who have been assigned Borse. Okay, if you are not from an EU country, then some of this information is not pertinent to you. You may need a visa for less than 6 months, and it would be very important to in other words, the requirements for less than 6 months may be different, are different from you. It'd be very important for you to clarify with your host university. I'm going to just focus on a few of these slides in order to clarify the difference between under 6 months and over 6 months, okay? So as of the 1st of January, okay, the EU nationals are no longer, we're no longer part of a free movement regime, and therefore there is the issue of whether or not a visa or is needed. There's a significant difference, as I mentioned, for staying for less than 6 months and staying for more than 6 months. I'm going to talk first about less than 6 months, okay? So this is just to remind you that the freedom of movement, which is part of the common market, is no longer in place. Now, here's the first terminological difference. Okay, if you are an Italian citizen or a citizen of another EU country, then for less than 6 months, okay, what interests you is what's called a standard visitor visa, a visitor visa. If you are an EU national, okay, and you intend to stay for more than 6 months, you need to make a student visa application, okay, before traveling to the UK, okay? So I want to start with the less than 6 months situation, okay? One thing that's necessary to keep in mind is that whether you go for less than 6 months or more than 6 months, you will need to be getting a passport. And okay, if you don't already have one, you're actually okay to go to the UK with your identity card, you know, your carte d'identità, until the 1st of October. But to be quite honest, personally, I would not leave without having. I believe that you need to have the passport in any case to stay there. Okay, so you will need to get the passport. Okay. Now, here they make a distinction between nationals who need a visa and nationals who don't need a visa. And this is one of the points on which we still need to have some clarification. Because in some of the material that I read, it indicates that everybody, even an EU citizen, needs the visitor visa. And in other ones, it sounds like it's possible actually just to go to the border, you know, go to the airport with your passport and apply there directly. So it's very important for you to know that under 6 months is quite straightforward. It's not a difficult procedure, but I'm not 100% sure about this information, where it says non-visa nationals, because this seems to indicate that it's even easier than I thought to go for 6 months, but I'm not 100% sure. In any case, I'm going to describe the visa for under 6 months on the assumption that you might need to get the visa. Okay. Those of you who are from non-EU countries, you will need it. If you're from Iran, you know, ex-Soviet republics, Pakistan, I believe there might be someone. You will need definitely, even for less than 6 months, you will need the visitor visa. Okay, now the standard visitor visa, if you need one, okay, it's for less than 6 months. Okay, don't worry about this. This has nothing. So I'm assuming at the moment, for the purposes of the discussion, that even if you're an EU citizen, you may need the visa. Quindi per riepilogare, non sono sicura al 100% perché le informazioni ricevute dalle varie università, alcune sembrano più aggiornate di altri. Ok? Sembrerebbe, cioè in ogni caso, questo visto per meno di 6 mesi non è particolarmente complicato. Da alcune università sembra che forse diciamo i cittadini dei paesi dell'Unione Europea forse addirittura sono esenti da questo visto, però le informazioni finora ricevute sono un po' difformi. Quindi per sicurezza descrivo questo visto comunque, ok? D'accordo? Ok. Allora, this is really good, okay, if you need to complete a study abroad program as part of an overseas course, and it's less than 6 months, this is what you need, okay? So, okay. Under this visa, there's a few things you can't do. Non puoi essere esteso, okay? So if you go for 6 months, you can't stay there more, okay? You're not allowed to work in the UK. This is a difference from previous years because now the UK is not part of the EU, okay? Ok. Le altre cose non vi interessano perché tanto non porterete cancer figli o chiederete sostegni pubblici. Okay, so the important thing is to know that technically, if you go on a, you know, for less than 6 months, you can't work while you're there, even part-time. Okay, and you can't extend it once you're there. Okay, quindi se intendete stare più di 6 mesi bisogna fare l'altro, di cui parleremo fra un attimo. Okay, here we go. If you are going into the UK, questo Birmingham ci parla come se fosse già assodato che le persone che fanno parte dell'EU sono non visa nationals e se è così è molto più facile perché se hai il passaporto con il chip, no? Quello con i dati personali, diciamo, dovrebbe essere, diciamo, abbastanza facile, si passerà da questi e-gates, ok? E poi dovrai presentare, diciamo, alcuni documenti, diciamo, di supporto, ok? In order to, what you will need is your passport, okay? Okay, and it has to, here it is, it has to be valid for the whole stay, ok? Quindi questo già taglia l'attestato, anche se dicono che fino al 1° ottobre puoi entrare con la carta d'identità, in realtà ti serve poi questo passaporto per starci, okay? And you may be asked, okay, to prove that. So you're going to need to have some documentation, okay, that you've been accepted, okay? So you'll need a letter of acceptance on the letterhead paper from the host university. E questo lo avrete senz'altro, però magari bisogna avere un dossier, insomma, avere questa documentazione con voi. Okay, so you're going to need, you know, showing that you've been accepted for the period, etc. Okay. You will need a letter from the University of Siena, okay, or some sort of documentation, ma lo avrete che questo periodo di studio ha a che fare con il vostro percorso qui, ok, il vostro corso di studio, ok. You may be required to show that you can support yourself and your dependents non ci sono, non avrete persone a carico, okay? You may be required to show that you can support yourself while you're there. Okay, questo vuol dire in pratica che avete bisogno di far vedere che avete qua, diciamo, una certa somma nel conto corrente, ok? Ho visto, diciamo, a seconda dell'università che indicano che può essere anche una qualche documentazione che riguarda il conto corrente dei genitori. Queste cose eventualmente li dovete appurare meglio, diciamo, con il vostro, diciamo, host university. It will be important, obviously, if you, Tiziana mentioned the financial agreement, you will, you know, before 2 weeks before the departure. So that money as well is part of, you know, what you can show that you have. Ok, quindi avrete una qualche documentazione anche facendo vedere, penso, no, Tiziana, che è stato trasferito o verrà trasferito questa somma iniziale di 80% o i 5, eccetera. Okay.
We used to do that for the non-EU students before the Brexit.
Right.
We give them a certificate where asked where it said that they are Erasmus student, they are allowed to spend the mobility period that we receive a grant up to. So we do it quite usually.
Right.
Before,
so presumably a similar declaration now would be appropriate also for the EU students going to the UK. Okay, so this would be an extension, you know, to EU students of something that the University of Siena was already doing. Okay. It would be appropriate to show your return trip. Okay, so if you already have your return trip and you've paid for it, then it would be good to have indication about that. But you'll have this from the university that some form of accommodation has been organized, okay? E potrebbe essere necessario dichiarare, però sarà già palese, no, che intendete andare via entro la fine del periodo, perché ci sarà anche questa return journey, okay? This one down here at the bottom, you don't need to worry about this. This is for certain technical subjects, and none of us are related to that because it's like veterinarian or medical. I don't think any of those are or certain technical. So this last one is not of interest to this ATAS. You don't need to worry about it. Okay. In other words, you will need to make sure, and you'll need to check this with your host university. You will need to have certain documentation showing that you that you're going there, that this is part of, that you've been accepted by the host university, that the University of Siena agrees that this is part of your course of study, that you're able to, support, that you have some funding, okay, and that accommodation has been raised, okay. This is what, at the moment, I understand is needed for the visa for less than 6 months. As you can see, there is one doubt, which is whether or not you need to make an application ahead of time or if it's sufficient to do it at the border. This, as I mentioned, some universities have been clearer about it, and some have been less clear. So you'll need to make sure to check with your university, and it may be to make sure that you do it at the right time. Okay. The less than 6 months stay, in other words, for the immigration, this is about it. Okay. So it's not a big deal. However, it's very important to get everything done in time and to have the documentation, any application or documentation done in time. And so it's really important to check with your university, your host university. This is a separate thing with regard to the language requirements of your university, your host university, for students who are there for less than 6 months. There you need to check what those requirements are and interface directly with your host university about them, because they're different from university to university, and they're related to the level of study. Okay. Now, in some cases, as I mentioned, Birmingham, they will simply accept a declaration on the part of the language center that, or someone like myself who teaches a B2 level course, saying that you've got a B2 level. Okay, that's all they need. Edinburgh, for example, I think there's 3 or 4 people going to Edinburgh. I see Edinburgh has an interesting situation because they clarify that if you want to take courses in the 1st and 2nd year, there are certain language requirements. But if you want to take courses that are in the 3rd and 4th year, certain courses, you have to have a language certification of a certain point. So there, for example, I saw that this is Edinburgh, for example. I know that, no, this is not Edinburgh. Hang on a moment. Where was Edinburgh? Okay, pardon me. Just a moment. Yeah. Sorry. No, this is Oxford.
Excuse me, Professor Anderson, just a moment. Yeah. Barbara, can you hear me, Barbara Rossi?
Yeah. Okay.
Eccomi.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, just a moment. As you said that you will have to leave the meeting at 12, so I don't know. This is very important information from Professor Anderson. But if
I'll
you
make sure to
speak before, please
okay,
let me know on the chat, because
okay.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for interrupting you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't find my Edinburgh file at the moment, but basically, those of you from Edinburgh have already received it, but basically, there's a distinction if they have different requirements according, but those are internal requirements for being able to attend certain courses, okay? So basically, basically that's the situation. If you're going for less than 6 months, okay? If you're going for less than 6 months, in other words, you you only have to present language certifications, international language certifications, if required by your university. It's not part of the visa situation, okay? If you're going for more than 6 months, it is, okay? If you go for more than 6 months, you have a different procedure, okay? And this procedure is the so-called student visa or student route visa. This is for more than 6 months. And here there are requirements that are actually on the part of the UK Immigration Service, okay? And these are more complicated, okay? And I'm going to just give an overview, and then if you decide you want to stay for more than 9 months, you should follow the exact procedure indicated by your host university. So what changes if you just want to stay for more than 6 months? And this is, in other words, if you want to stay the whole year, this is valid both for people who are EU nationals, so Italian citizens or citizens of EU countries, but also for students who are from nationals of other countries like Pakistan or Iran or whatever. Okay, so if you are an international student with the University of Siena, or if you're an Italian student, it's the same. That the procedure is similar. Okay. Basically, you have to give yourself time, and you have to within obtain a student visa, okay, which requires making an application for this ahead of time, and you start the procedure by receiving from your university, your host university, a thing that is called CAS, C-A-S, okay? It's a number that they give to students who need a student visa because they're staying more than 6 months, and it means certification for application for study or something, CAS. They will provide this CAS to you, and it also has some other information that accompanies it, okay, about what they expect about language requirements and how long you'll be staying, and the fact, for example, that you will be taking courses because you have to take at least, I think, 30 credits or be registered for 30 credits or something. Anyway, they basically give you this CAS, okay? And that's what's written here, CAS for studies, okay? So the first step is that they give you this, okay? But in the meantime, you need to get organized, okay? Because you will need, as part of the procedure for requesting the visa, okay, to produce a series of documents and also make some payments. Okay, so the first the first is that pardon me. The first is that there's an application fee. Okay. And the application fee for this visa, the visa that takes longer than 6 months, is 348 pounds. Okay, so it's, you know, a little bit over 350 euro. Okay. By the way, the one that is less than 6 months, there, if you do need the visa for less than 6 months, I think it's like 95 euro or something, you know, 95 pounds. I'm not 100% certain, but as mentioned, it looks like maybe you might not even need it if you're an EU citizen. But that one, in any case, is not too expensive. Okay, it's reasonable. This one is 348 to request the student visa, because they have to do interviews and stuff with you, okay, which can be online interviews. And in addition, you have to pay 470 pounds for what's called for the National Health Service. If you stay for more than 6 months, you have to be registered with the National Health Service. By the way, if you stay less than 6 months, you'll need to check about, in any case, about health insurance coverage, okay? Because you may need to take out health insurance coverage for less than 6 months, okay? Again, I've seen different things at different universities about this, so follow the instructions for your university, okay? But if you stay for more than 6 months, then you have to. So you're talking about already 348 plus 470, okay? And that's obligatory because you need the visa and you need to pay for the National Health Service, okay? And the other thing that you have to worry about in terms of cost for the visa is that there's the English language requirement cost for the visa is quite specific, okay? There are only certain exams that the immigration service accepts, okay? And those exams, I think there's 5 of them. Not all of them are offered in Italy, but several of them are, okay? And there's specific exams that the immigration service accepts. The one that seems most, one of them is the EALTS academic, but it has to be an EALTS, okay, done in what's called an authorized testing center, okay? So if you need to do the visa for more than 6 months, you need to follow the instructions for what type of language exam certification is accepted carefully. For example, from what I understand, they don't accept the Cambridge, which is absurd, but that's because it's not at the moment on this list of 5 certificates, okay? So this list of 5 certificates includes EALTS, it includes a certain TOEFL bid, it includes Pearson, which I don't know, I think it includes a Trinity, of some sort of Trinity, but they have to be certain ones that are given by authorized centers. Now, if you're going this route, don't worry, you can do it, okay? For example, I went on and looked for the EALTS, okay, which is the one that I'm most familiar with. The EALTS academic, the special one for the immigration service, is easily available to be done at the British Council in Rome, okay? That's the authorized testing place in Italy, okay? And there are plenty of possibilities. There were a lot of, you know, possibilities to do it they have a lot of dates, okay, and you get your results pretty quickly, okay. So if you decide to go this direction, then it would be then it can be done. It would be done in, for example, in Rome. That was the IELTS in Rome, for example. There is a cost, of course, right? And for example, this IELTS at the British Council in Rome at the official testing center is I believe, €265. Okay, so what I'd like to share with you is simply because this I think is important for everybody. You need to calculate, these costs, right? Because you would have the application fee cost, the immigration health surcharge cost of $470, and then you would need to have one of these official recognized by the immigration service, okay, which would be another 265, okay. So this is more costly, and you have to do it in time, okay, because you have to then present these materials for your immigration interview. And the interview, if I understand correctly, can also be done online, and it's through the British Embassy, okay. They will also require you to show, again, some sort of bank statement, either your own bank account or your parents' bank account, showing that that you have money for, to pay per month for your accommodation and stuff. You don't need to worry about this. You see where it says first year of tuition fees? That's not a problem because you're an Erasmus student, so you don't pay tuition fees to the host university. You just need to be able to show that you have, financial coverage for accommodation, and it's the same issue that we talked about when we talked about the 6 months visa. Okay, in short, okay. This is, and then they say, it can take between three weeks up. It could, they give themselves up to 2 months, but when I talked to people in Birmingham, they said that it's usually quicker in EU countries. That's basically the difference, okay? I don't know if I've been clear about it. In other words, these specific language tests you need if you need to do the student visa through with the prior application and the visa interview for more than 6 months, okay? If it's less than 6 months, then what's important is that you follow the instructions for the visitor visa, or if they say non-visa national, but whatever they say is needed for less than 6 months, okay? That doesn't mean you may still need to present something, you will need to present something having to do with language requirements. According to your university, it could be just a declaration from our language center, or it could be, but you saw that already when you applied, a certificate of some sort. Okay, I think that's basically what I wanted to mention here. Spero di essere stata abbastanza chiaro. C'è questo discrimine quindi dei 6 mesi che effettivamente è importante tenere in mente, no? Perché uno è più lungo e più costoso, ok? È possibile. Molti di voi, io ho visto c'è qualcuno fra di voi, per esempio, che credo abbia forse già questo IELTS per esempio, e quindi potrebbe essere facilitato già per i student, questo da più di 6 mesi. Molti di voi, tra parti, da quello che ho visto io, almeno nelle applicazioni, insomma, le domande che ho guardato io, avete comunque, diciamo, i livelli linguistici per poter anche percorrere questa diciamo, percorso per più di 9 mesi, più di 6 mesi. Purtroppo Brexit ha creato, diciamo, ha messo dei paletti dove prima non c'erano, ok? Per quanto riguarda i cittadini, diciamo, europei. Per fortuna non ne ha messi tanti, sono, diciamo, molto gestibili da quello che vedo fino a 6 mesi. Più di 6 mesi ci vuole pianificazione e ci vuole, diciamo, occorre, diciamo, seguire bene, diciamo, le indicazioni che riceverete da vostro host university per quanto riguarda la richiesta di student visa per più di 6 mesi. Ok? Penso che l'importante, diciamo, è vedere come volete orientarvi da un punto di vista pratico e se volete, diciamo, stare per 9 mesi che vi muovete ora velocemente, siete ancora in tempo, ok? Perché ho visto che questi IELTS, per esempio, si può farlo tranquillamente ancora a maggio, giugno, c'erano molti posti, cioè era possibile, insomma, farlo, ok? I don't know if that's clear. I hope.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This was very informative and complete and
okay. And
very helpful information. I don't know if Professor Anderson can stay also for the question time. If you can remain connected, it would be helpful because maybe there will be questions about that. But for the moment, I have to leave the floor to Barbara Rossi because she had told me that she should leave at 12. So
okay.
hopefully she has time enough to tell us about the academic recognition part. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Tiziana, and good morning. What about the recognition of Erasmus activities? The recognition of the didactic activities to be carried out abroad is the responsibility of the teaching boards, which are in charge of verifying the coherence of the programs to be carried out abroad with the field and the scientific disciplines of the didactic system of the individual course of study to which the student in mobility belongs. All the exams in your course of study, including the subject chosen by the student, may be taken abroad, regardless of their location in the same year of the course in which the mobility takes place. So, after the end of the mobility, you will have to send to Erasmus office the Erasmus certificate with arrival and departure dates, and the transcript of records sent by the host university afterwards. Also the return travel ticket. In learning agreement form, you will find after mobility part, but it will be replaced by the transcript of records. So there is no need to fill in it. The recognition procedures will only be activated upon delivery of the transcript of records. So, in order to start the credit recognition procedure, you will have to send the transcript issued by the host university to the Erasmus office and also to the student office of your department. Then the student office will forward the transcript to the Erasmus referent of the department, who, together with the teaching board, will evaluate the transcript of records in which generally he could find a table comparing local grades to the ECTS scale and convert the grades according to the ECTS conversion tables published on the university website. A few words on the number of credits. If you have taken more credits abroad than the number of credits required for the corresponding exam in your course of study, the additional credit will be recorded as excess credit, as redundant. On the other hand, if you have obtained a number of credits lower than those foreseen for the corresponding exam in Siena, in any case up to a maximum of 2 credits, the number of credits for the corresponding exam will be assigned on the basis of the approval of the learning agreement and the equivalent workload carried out within the deadlines foreseen by the teaching board. As we said, teaching boards are responsible for approving the mobility study plan. This approval must be carried out prior to the student's departure. Only in the event of documented difficulties on the part of the student in submitting the study plan within the specified deadlines, the approval process must in any case be defined within 2 months of departure. Then any additions or integration to the examination program carried out abroad may only requested by the teaching board in exceptional and duly justified cases, and must be made known to the student when the study plan is approved. Then there are also some departments, such as the Department of Political Science, which award 2 credits for the internship type for participation in the Erasmus programs. But for all information on the recognition of credits, you can write to the student offices of your department. And another thing is the student can also ask for the recognition of a part of the credits foreseen for the thesis. When, in this case, when submitting the learning agreement, the student must highlight the research and thesis preparation activity he intends to carry out in the host university, and must submit, together with the learning agreement, a declaration from his supervisor foreign is in the central element of his thesis project. The student at the end of his mobility period must deliver to the student offices of our university a signed and stamped certificate issued by the host foreign university, indicating the actual duration of the stay abroad and the execution of the thesis research activity corresponding to the provision of the learning agreement. Together with this certification, the supervisor must write a statement on the activities carried out abroad by the student, certifying their full consistency that can be recognized. The certificates referred to in this point are forwarded to the competent teaching board for approval. And for me, that's it.
Thank you, Barbara. As Barbara said, please refer to the specific office of your department, even if the information that Barbara said are general and are valid for all the departments. And in addition to what she said, you can also read on the website, there is a section named Recognition of Didactic Activities Taken Abroad, and that is an official act from the Senato Accademico, approved by the Senato Accademico of the University of Siena, where all the details are mentioned, including the difference of 2 credits, which Barbara just said. And still about this subject, I'd like to remind that in UK, the credits are double. So if you see that an exam consists of 20 credits, it must be considered 10 as CTS credits. So you must read 10. So they must be divided into parts, and it's the half. About this subject, also, I didn't mention it at the beginning, but when you receive the first message or one of the messages from the host university, most of times, and hopefully it is included a course catalog from which you can choose the course that will be part of your learning agreement proposal to be submitted to the teaching board through the student's office. So if this is not the case, the courses can be found on the web, but most of times you should receive this list, or you should be guided to the catalog course on the web by the host university. So that makes things easier, because it must be said that sometimes not all the courses are available for the Erasmus students. So maybe that your choice will be somehow restricted to some areas or to some courses. About this, I think we said all, but I don't see anything else to be said about this subject of academic recognition. I don't know if there will be questions. So in case there will be questions, you will not be with us anymore because you have to leave. Maybe I will redirect the question if I'm not able to answer properly to the student's office of their department. Okay. Thank you for your very helpful presentation. And I will leave the floor now, as in the program, to our friends of the Erasmus group, Erasmus Student Network Siena. We have Gerlando and Sarah, and they will tell us about some about the students' point of view regarding the Erasmus story. Very not only nice to hear them, but in the end they are more concretely useful for the organization of your studies. So I leave the floor to them, and thank you for being with us as always. Thank you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? I hope so. Okay, perfect. Hi everyone, good morning everyone. I'm Sara and I'm the Vice President of ESN Siena Jazz. Today I'm with the President, Gerlando.
Hi everyone.
And we will try to explain to you what does it mean to carry out an Erasmus mobility, but actually what comes in the practical view of your Erasmus. We prepared a presentation. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen. Hope you can see it. Okay. Can you see the screen? Just give me, okay, perfect. We wanted to start with a quote that is, your Erasmus starts now. Why? Because from the moment on that you start your mobility, you start already thinking about your mobility, then you already know that your Erasmus is going to start, is going to begin. And from this presentation, we want to try to explain to you what is ESN. So what do we do in our volunteering part, and who we are, so that when you carry out your mobility, when you go on Erasmus, you can find your ESN section that is the nearest one near to you. So talking about ESN, who are we? We are the biggest European student network. We are 528 local sections in 41 countries, and we are many, many volunteers. Later, I will show you a map where you can see all the Erasmus section. What are our values? Our values are unity in diversity, diversity in unity, but one of the most important value is students helping students. Why? Because we are students, For example, I'm a student, I did my Erasmus, and when I came back from my Erasmus, I was like, I want to carry out also another mobility, but in my home university. And there I found out ESN, which is this group, this small group of people. It depends on the city. In Siena, we are a very small group of people. We are 20, 30 people, and we are students that want to help students. It's everything, it's voluntary. So it's not mandatory. Another value is the international dimension of life. Why international dimension of life? Because we are many, many people all around the world. Actually, from an international point of view, as I told you before, we are 528 local sections in 41 countries. So here, already from the map, you can see that we are spread all over the world. Also in ESN, also in countries that are not part of EU. Then from an Italian point of view, in Italy, we are 54 local sections in 47 cities, and we have many, many Erasmus and exchange students, because when Erasmus come here, they're not only people that are part of the Erasmus program, but also international people, and we have many, many active members. From a local point of view, as I told you before, it's us here. We are not so many people, but we are a small group of people that have this kind of vision, the international dimension of life, the vision of the students helping students, the fact that we are all different, but actually we are all a unique group. Then talking about the practical point of view, only with ESN you can enjoy these activities. We carry out many, many activities. For example, the sport activities. We may do football matches and many, many matches. Then about the trips, we go to Rome, to the international cultural event that is so, so cool, that you can meet all Erasmus from all Italy. Then we do many trips about the carnival in Venice, the one when we go all summer, and we enjoy our trips. Then another one is the social Erasmus, where we actually, from the pandemic point of view, now we couldn't make many, many events from this point of view, but also from the point of view of the trips and sport activities, but we try to carry activities online. For example, about the social part, we did many activities about the raising awareness on social inclusion, on gender equality, on many things, on environmental sustainability. So we talk about also the SDGs of the European Union. Then talking about another activities that is so cool here in Siena, and we hope to make this one another time, maybe September, is a city tour. Also recommend to you to ask your ESN section when you go on Erasmus to give you a tour. Why? Because it's the best option, is the best way to get to know better the city, and to find new people, and to meet new people. Then another one, in order to meet new people, is the tandem, where it's called the Linguistic Tandem, because you meet new people and you address to the other people while talking in another language. For example, I'm Italian, I want to talk in English, and then I address to the English person, and then it goes by itself. But you can do all these activities only with your ESN card. What is the ESN card? Is the membership card of ESN Erasmus Student Network. You can find this type of card all throughout the network, so it's not different from the Italian one, the Spanish one, and the other one. It's a proof of the membership of an ESN section, and you can use it as a discount card in many, many cities. And remember, this is very important for you that you are going to UK. Not all UK has ESN section. For this reason, if your Erasmus city is not present an ESN section, you can make your ESN card with us. So you just ask us, later I will tell you our addresses. You can ask us a question, and then we will give you your ESN card if you don't have your section in your Erasmus place. Another discount is Ryanair, which is one of the coolest one, is one of the main advantages of your ESN card, is one of the huge partner we have. you have 4 flights with a 10% of discounts and a free checked-in luggage of 20 kilos. So you can imagine how many things you can carry with you thanks to Ryanair. Another one is Flixbus. You can have the 10% of discounts with some vouchers. So you can, when you can go to make some trips, you can use these discounts, but there are many, many discounts in the official page. What happens when you go on Erasmus? I told you to find your ESN section, but what is the physical place where the ESN is the office. Normally is the office. For example, here in Italy, in Siena, we have one in Via Banchi di Sotto 55, and you can meet us. It's an info point. We can give your ESN card, and also when we will make events, you can have your events tickets. ESN Italy, not only ESN Siena, but all ESN Italy promoted 2 activities, actually 2 programs that are very, very helpful for you. The first one is the Buddy System, which is a program promoted by ESN Siena Jazz in collaboration with the University of Siena, through which the Erasmus students are matched with students of the University of Siena. And you will ask me why it is important for me that I'm going on Erasmus. Why? Because when you go on Erasmus and you find your section, you can ask them a buddy. So a buddy is a person that will be always with you. For example, my buddy when I went on Erasmus, he was there waiting for me at the airport. So you will meet the first person you will meet that is part of ESN, and we will tell you, maybe we'll give you some advices about the bureaucratical part of you from the university point of view. Then maybe some tips about how to live, where to go, where to live. So it's very, very important, and we ask you, I think we recommend you to ask for one buddy. Then another initiative that is so important is Ask Erasmus. Actually, this one goes before the buddy. Why? Because from now on, now that you are assignees of a mobility, you can ask for a person that is kind of a buddy, but actually is an Italian student who were before you, who started a mobility before you in the same country, in the same city, or maybe also in the same university. So you will meet all these people that can help you. I always say that when I did my Erasmus, I had a person I could fill the form of Ask Erasmus, I wouldn't have so many fears when I went to Erasmus, because thanks to this platform, you will have a match with the person that went before you on your Erasmus destination. Here you will have all the link. The Erasmus form is open till May, so we recommend to you to sign up for the form. They will ask to you maybe about the university, which course, then maybe some of your infos, maybe your email, and then you will, in few months, you will be matched with a person. So you can ask him, her, whatever you want about your mobility. Maybe you can find a person that went exactly in the same place at the same period that you want to go on Erasmus. So it's a very, very wonderful tip for you. So here you have all the information. Then here you have all our contacts. So when you want, you can send us an email. You can write to us on Facebook, on Instagram. We have the website, wherever you want. We are available 24 hours a week. We are already there. We are always there for you. So you can ask us whatever you want. We can give you all the tips. We can match with you to the person that already went on Erasmus, maybe in the same place that you were before. And also, if you want to talk to us about some fears, about what do you think about this mobility, we are always there for you, because we already went on Erasmus. We know what do you feel, and we know that will be a wonderful experience, even though this pandemic situation, but you won't have problems, because will be the best solution, the best thing you chose in your life. So thank you for your attention. If you want, I'll leave you a little bit more these contacts. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. Grazie, grazie molte. Does Gerlando want to add anything? Is it fine? Yeah.
It's fine.
Avete detto tutto. Avete
Sì,
detto
sì.
tutto.
Direi di sì.
Okay, grazie molte. So we finished our presentation, but we read some questions on the chat, and so let's start with trying to answer all of your questions. Please remember that in case of specific question linked to your specific situation, you can always contact us on our mail address erasmus.out@unisi.it, and also we have a virtual desk which is open on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 12. If you want to contact us through that, you must book 15 minutes of time during the 2 hours, and we will be in contact one-on-one on the web. Okay, so let's start with the question. So let's go with the first one, which seems to be a question about. Okay, what is the deadline to indicate a shorter period than the one which has been assigned? So there is not a deadline, but of course, the first thing to do is to choose if you leave for the whole year, for the full year, or for one semester or one term. And so once that you have decided this on the basis also of the academic calendar, you will decide when you would like to leave, and before that time you must agree with the host university that that period is fine for them. And so I would say that you receive a message from them, including the academic calendar and the course catalog, and that you decide your plan of study, and according to that, you also decide the period that you would like to stay abroad. And if this is result to be shorter than the given period, you will inform the host university through the documents, the modules that you have to send them back, or answering their email. And also you will inform our office. But for what concerns our office, as I tried to say before, there is not a specific deadline. The first we know that we have some more available money, because you stay shorter, so you receive less money. But there are no other consequences, because there is no students who are without money, so we don't scroll our list. So it doesn't make much the difference if you tell us before or after about your period shortening. But inform us, and the more information you send, without exaggerating, the easier it is for us to manage your mobility at the best. The next question.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
Lisa?
sorry if I interrupt you, but I have another meeting. I have another meeting in a few minutes. And so I hope that this event has been an important occasion for all of you students. And I thank you, Professor Anderson and Barbara Rossi and the other colleagues. Of course, please not hesitate to do your questions. We are here to reply you. And good luck. Good luck for your this important experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Annalisa.
Thank you. So next question. If we decide not to go to the UK mobility, our spot goes to the next person in line, or is it lost? It is lost. The selection is closed. Also, because of the deadline which Professor Anderson mentioned, and also which characterize all the host university. There are deadlines to be respected, and so this process, we are even a bit late compared to the deadlines which the university have in order to send you the information and to receive your application back. So there will not be further assignation of mobilities for the UK university for the academic year 21-22. So, so this is also, this includes the fact that you can decide in case you want to renounce, withdraw your mobility, think it over very well, because you are not, if you did not apply, maybe your place will be taken by the next candidate in the list. But at this point, at this stage, this is not valid anymore. So take your decision carefully and take your time to decide what you really want to do. Next question. I think that this is a question important, which regards all of us. How will it work for the vaccine? This is a mysterious question, I would say, because we don't know. Actually, we don't know. I don't want to spend minutes over this question because I really don't know. This is not a question for the university, even if I understand that from a certain point of view, students do expect to be assisted or to be followed also from this point of view, because this is a disease and it will be an important point to be allowed to live and stay abroad. We don't know yet also about that, but it seems that it will go like that. But we don't have a service, or we don't have a reserve list, or we don't have any special access to the vaccine campaign for students living abroad. So if you want to write us an email about this issue, maybe we can ask to the authorities of the university if something is going to be done and that is respected. But at the moment, we don't have information about that. As far as I know, I think that I'm quite updated about this aspect. Then for those who got both the European and the UK mobility, can we send the application to both the university and then decide which one to go? Yeah, you can do that. That's a good. Somehow it's a good idea because the application stage, the application phase. So we have. I repeat this process because maybe at the beginning it was too much information. So the process goes like that. First, you apply. You are selected, or you are not selected. If you are selected, you are nominated to the host university. The host university does send you a message and ask you for some documents to be sent to them before certain deadlines. You do that, and that's a kind of further application that you do directly to the host university. So the fact that the University of Siena gave you that destination because you were good enough, or you were the best who applied for that destination, does not automatically imply that the host university will accept you and will accept your plan of study. So when you apply to the host university, you are asking them to be accepted and to be allowed to attend certain courses or certain didactic activities. And the story ends when the host university writes you, you're welcome. We wait for you on the 15th of September for our orientation week. And your plan of study is accepted and you can attend the selected courses. That's the happy end of the story. In this process, sometimes we have to change our courses. We have to contact us, our office, because there are some problems which could be solved with our help. So if the process is not smooth, we can intervene and try to solve the problems during the process. But the process ends when you are accepted and your plan of study is accepted. So to answer the question, is it a good idea to apply to both universities you have been given? Yes, it is, because you don't. If you withdraw now, your places will not be taken by the next student. So it's quite natural if you keep the mobility or you withdraw that. At the same time, you keep the two doors open, of course, until a certain moment, because at a certain moment you will have to decide and inform all the parts about your decision, because otherwise this is not very nice to keep the thing open too long. But at this stage, this could be a good idea for the reason I try to explain. Okay, next question. For the university who ask language requirements, the pass obtained at the Linguistic Center of the University of Siena, is it valid or not? I don't know if Professor Anderson can help me with this question, because she mentioned the language requirements and certificates. My reply is that it depends on the host university. So it depends on how tight these requirements are. In general, I don't see very well this option. I don't think that this certificate obtained with the Linguistic Center could be compared, could be enough for these language requirements of the host university. But of course, it depends on the language requirements. Professor Anderson, can you help me with that?
Well, I don't know what university is, so I would need to look at their requirements. For example, Birmingham for less than 6 months does accept a declaration saying that you have, it's sufficient to have a declaration on University of Siena letterhead paper. So I know that about Birmingham. I don't know it about other universities at the moment. I can't help without actually seeing what they accept or don't accept. Okay, so your individual university will say. I mean, if you want, I'll share just to show you. Okay, so for example, okay, Birmingham had, let me see if I can open that. Okay, just to show, okay, but other universities may also have something similar, okay. I've got the wrong one, excuse me. The study abroad, which is the, sorry. Ok, mi dispiace, non lo trovo ora, ma se ci sono studenti che hanno borse da me seguite o hanno delle perplessità e possono anche provare a scrivermi, posso cercare di aiutarvi a navigare, diciamo, nei siti. Mi dispiace. Io ho guardato, diciamo, per un 6 o 7 delle università, incluse anche alcune che non sono di mia competenza, per esempio Warwick. E quindi se avete qualche difficoltà, cioè senza vedere quelli che sono i requisiti della singola università, diciamo, parlo, diciamo, a vuoto, quindi, d'accordo? Se c'è qualche problema, semmai aggiungo un attimino qui una, cioè vari studenti sono già stati in contatto con me, se ci sono altri e posso aiutare Tiziana in qualche modo, volentieri. Però diciamo è inutile dire che cosa accettano o non accettano senza vedere esattamente il loro elenco. Ognuno è un po' diverso. C'è chi prende CAE diciamo con un certo livello che è anche più basso di un C1, ci sono altri che vogliono, che vogliono diciamo TOEFL eccetera, ci sono altri ancora che appunto come Birmingham anche altri dichiarano che basta diciamo per meno di 6 mesi ovviamente una dichiarazione di questo tipo. Quindi io penso francamente quello che ha detto Tiziana, ormai avete la borsa, prima di ritirarvi, cioè, visto che diciamo per 6 mesi è possibile diciamo andare con una procedura di visto relativamente snello, mi sembrerebbe diciamo molto opportuno diciamo prendere il vostro tempo e controllare un attimo diciamo questi requisiti linguistici. Quello che posso dire, se il vostro università, la vostra università sembra che voglia un CAE, ok? c'è ancora la possibilità fino a domani mattina di iscriversi al CAE di giugno tramite l'Università di Siena. Quindi se c'è qualcuno che sa già che un CAE con un certo livello, che può essere in alcuni casi, come ho detto, diciamo più basso di un C1, se ha già capito che per la vostra università è uno dei requisiti che hanno bisogno di una certificazione ed è una delle certificazioni che ci vuole, contattatemi pure e vi spiego, diciamo, come interfacciare con la collega per iscrivervi all'esame. Mi dispiace, io oltre a questo, diciamo, in questo momento non ho altre informazioni. Come ho menzionato, se dovessero chiedere un IELTS è fattibilissimo, diciamo, tramite il British Council di Roma. Però non escludo, cioè almeno 2 delle università che seguo io non stanno richiedendo, diciamo, certificazioni per meno di 6 mesi. Non sono sicura però di altri, mi dispiace, ma è molto complesso orientarsi, perché poi sembra che stiano anche aggiornando i siti in questi giorni. Questa è la mia impressione, quindi non so se è utile o meno questa input. Tiziana, non ti sentiamo per qualche motivo.
Yeah, thank you. I had so yeah, the question was still about language requirements, and one student is saying that she has been asked for the C1 level, but that she doesn't think she will manage to achieve this level at the end of her first year. So she will not have this level as requested. So is there a way to solve the matter? She's asking, and also, as Professor Anderson just also said, and I did it also, please forward the message that you got from the host university where this request is mentioned, so that we can read and try to understand how tight this request is. If there is a margine di manovra, if there is a way to pass this problem, to solve this problem. And in that case, we are happy to help. We and the Linguistic Center, of course, that is the proper office for this.
Yes, I think that this suggestion on Tiziana's part, if you've received an email and it talks about, if it gives links, if it talks about language requirements, forward it to Tiziana, right, to Erasmus Out, so that she can actually look at the link, okay? And Tiziana, if for some reason it looks, you know, we can also talk if you want. I mean, if it's useful to consult, because I've looked at a few of them. But I mean, the first thing to do would be to send it through to Tiziana, you know, so that she can check exactly what's required. Okay, because it's a little bit complicated. In some cases, they want a certain level if it's under 6 months, and more if it's more than 6 months. That's why I think it's important for maybe to share the link with Tiziana. I think that would be the most practical thing. Okay.
Thank you. And also the next question looks a bit the same. Durham requires TOEFL and other certification done the last 2 years ago. How can you help us with our CLA certification for this? Yeah, that's here is a little bit, to me, is a little bit more clear. Then there is a difference among the TOEFL certification and the CLA certification. So if it's clearly said that they want the TOEFL, this is too hard for me to say it correctly. This is not the CLA certification. So this is another thing. But still, the suggestion is to forward the link or the message where this is said, so that we can better understand how far we are from the request, and if we can manage somehow to solve it. Then the next question, for what should we address to the professor who was indicated as the referee? Referee for what? I mean, the teaching part, the academic part is very important. And our colleague from the student office said that all the credit recognition procedure passes through the teaching board, Comitato per la Didattica. So the student office does transmit your request of approval of your plan of study abroad to the teaching board, and this is the body which is in charge of the decision about the approval of this plan of study. So this is how it works. But in the meantime, I mean, for deciding, in order to decide which courses you would like to attend abroad, you could also address your request, your DABs, your request for help to the academic coordinator of the exchange. I must say that not all the academic coordinators are so well informed and prepared and available as Professor Anderson is. Some of them do not, but not because there is no fault in that, but that's because maybe this is an agreement that they received from another professor who retired, so they're not well informed about the specific university, or they do not have enough time to follow the student. Probably, but this is a few of them. I must say that there is a general availability of all professors to help students to go abroad and to achieve credits abroad. So this is to say that help could be received also from the academic coordinator of the exchange, even if the body in charge of the recognition procedure is the Comitato per la Didattica of your degree course. And so there are two figures, let's say, you can refer to. One is the academic coordinator of the exchange that is mentioned in the destination description that we publish together with the call. And the other one is the president of the teaching board that you can contact to have suggestion or to have a pre-approval of your plan of study, if this was the question, because it was not completely clear to me.
E Tiziana, tanto per far capire, diciamo, che effettivamente è complesso al momento, ma bisogna, diciamo, non
Sì?
cioè, appurare bene. Io, per esempio, mi avevi mandato, diciamo, per avere una panoramica, anche il link della Durham University, cioè si sta parlando di Durham, D-U-R-H-A-M, giusto?
Yeah, the previous question was,
Infatti,
about that.
per esempio lì, quando diciamo l'email che mi avevi mandato, che probabilmente è simile a quello che lo studente o la studentessa ha ricevuto.
Scusi, professoressa, I interrupt you because the question was from a foreign student.
Ah, okay.
So better English this time, especially.
See, okay, pardon me. Okay, so if it is from Durham and it was a student who is not an EU national, then it's between being an EU national and not an EU national. So if the person for Durham was an EU national, so an Italian citizen, for example, they don't need, for at least for 6 months, they don't need the TOEFL or the IELTS, but if it's a non-EU national, then yes, it's probable. Okay, see, this is why it's very important for you to be in contact with Tiziana, because she knows, you know, whether or not you're an EU national or not. There is, in fact, a distinction there. Okay, I just wanted to, so you know, to clarify that, because I went on to the links that you provided, Tiziana. In fact, it does make a difference if you're an EU national or not. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for this explanation. Yeah. Next question, there are a few more. Visa and medical insurance, to whom they must be requested and before which deadline? I think we spoke about it. I don't know if the student was with us at that moment, but we talk about this issue. And so, to whom they must be requested, it must be requested to the immigration office, and before which deadline, it will be specified. It depends on when you intend to leave, of course. So, depending on your envisaged departure, you must ask for the visa, and you must be ready with your medical insurance, depending on when you would like to leave. So there is not a fixed date in the year, but you must get an appointment and be ready with the documents that are requested before the appointment. Is it correct, Professor Anderson?
Yes, I think it depends on whether or not the person needs the visa for more than 6 months. Then my understanding is that it's important to start soon, but I believe that the request has to be within 3 months of departure. So if for some reason they're leaving in the second term, it might be too early to actually put in the request, but they should definitely find out how to do it. But if they're going for under 6 months and are an EU national, then it will take less time because it's not the complete, the student visa. It's a shorter one. I'm not sure if that's clear. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it will depend if it's an EU national or not, and whether or not it's more than 6 months or not.
Yeah, a few more questions. The IELTS is accepted also after 2 years from the date when it was achieved, or should we do it again? So the IELTS certification is accepted also after 2 years from the date. Accepted by whom? By which? By the host university, or in general, the validity of the certification is 2 years in general. So please forward us the message where you are asked about these language requirements and certifications, so that we can read who is asking that, where you found this information, and you can answer you more properly than now. Then staying 6 months would be considered over or under the 6 month threshold. I think that it's 6 months. When it's 6 months plus 1 day, it's more than 6 months. I think the way to be consider the 6 month thresholds.
Which in practice, is one term, either the first term or the second term, right? If you stay for the whole year, if you stay for a term, it's under 6 months, right? Because it's either from the end of September until the end of January usually, and then end of January to beginning of June, more or less, right, Tiziana?
Yeah. I should think about it, because when we issue the certificate, which helps with the visa obtaining procedure, we will indicate we will talk in terms of academic calendar. So it's not a vacation certificate, but it's something linked to the university organization. So that's correct. So next question: what about the students who only had to write their thesis abroad? Barbara Rossi mentioned this possibility. So I don't know from which point of view you are asking this question. I see three points of view. First point of view is that not all the university accept students making research for their thesis. This is in general, not just for UK. All the host university who participate in the Erasmus program can opt for not accepting student to make research for their thesis. This is because there is a difference among having students in the classroom, so being 100 students or 110 students, because there are 10 Erasmus students in the classroom, does not make much difference. It makes, but not this much. Which is another case if you have one student who is making research about, don't know what, in a lab, or must consult some ancient documents. So there must be someone following his research, her research. So there must be a professor or academic staff who really helps with the student with his research and can certify that he achieved some results while he was making his research in the host university. So this creates another kind of a difference in the host university. And so not all the universities do accept students to make their research for their thesis. So please check this first with the host university if this is not clearly stated in the application rules. And if you are accepted by the host university, and this could be facilitated by having an academic contact in the host university, and this academic contact could be facilitated by the academic coordinator of the exchange. This is the case of some professors who have colleagues and they work in the same subject area, they make the same field of research. And this would help you to be included in the group and to work on your thesis together with this team. So this is an ideal situation. In all other cases, you must pass through the international or Erasmus office, and they can accept you or not for having your thesis research there. The second point of view is the point of view of the student's office. As our colleague said before, if you go abroad to make research for your thesis, this is feasible and can be evaluated, can be considered in your academic curriculum as something plus, something extra, something to be, let's say, consider in terms of credits or of additional points in your final dissertation also. It depends on the rules, of your degree course. So each degree course you are enrolled has a rule, regolamento, and in some regolamenti it is mentioned that if you go abroad for your thesis, you are given an additional point in your final dissertation, or that you are given 3 credits or whatever. But this passes still through the teaching board approval. So if you go for your thesis abroad, you must communicate, you must inform through the learning agreement the Comitato per la Didattica, and they must agree with your proposal, and in this case your work done abroad for your thesis will be properly recognized. Then there is a third point of view, that is our office, because at the end we do have to report all the activities which have been carried out by our students, also in terms of credits. So if you, for example, if you had a mixed program, so if you had some courses, if you took some exams, but also you made some research for your thesis, and this gave you a number of credits, we will have to report these to the European Commission. So it will be interesting to us also to know what you actually did during your period of stay. But we don't limit in any way these activities. We just have to report about them. Last question about financial contribution. I did not understand if upon our arrival in UK we will be given the 80% of the financial contribution which are due to us. Okay, I said this some hours ago, but I repeat. It will, upon your arrival, I mean after your arrival, after proving that you actually start your mobility in UK, this is made through the Erasmus certificate and through the boarding pass to be sent to our email address. After that, we start the payment procedure of the grant. For what concern European money, the Erasmus European money, it will be given the 80% of the total due. Be careful that the total due could not correspond to what is written in the table that is on the web, because we pay this first installment on the basis of the financial agreement that you have to give us, to present 15 years, about 15 days before the actual departure. So you send us your financial agreement where it said that you're going to spend your Erasmus period from the 15th of September to the 20th of December, for example. And on the 16th of September, you are in London, and you send us your certificate and your boarding pass, and we start the payment procedure. And we give you the 80% of the total due for the 3 months that you indicated to stay abroad in the financial agreement, because we said from September to December, and we give you the 50% of the ministerial money if you are in the list of those receiving also this money. And especially for UK, we pay you €500 extra, which are meant to help with the extra expenses of the medical insurance and visa requirement, where this is must be paid. As Professor Anderson showed us, there are some costs linked to the visa obtainment. So this is about the financial contribution. If you have more questions, always contact us on the next question. Are there specific procedures to be followed in order to be able to write the thesis abroad? This is answered before. Hopefully you heard the answer. Another question. If a student goes abroad for the thesis and decide to stay less than 9 months, for example 6 months, will be recognize all the credits, all the forcing credits. Forcing credits by whom again? I mean, remember that if you go for your thesis abroad, it doesn't mean that you will be graduated at Middlesex University or at Royal Holloway University. You will be graduated in Siena. So your curriculum ends in Siena, and you will be graduated of the University of Siena who spent a period abroad. In the period abroad, you made some research for your thesis, and this can be evaluated and considered and can be written in the diploma supplement, for example. And in order that this happens, you must follow the recognition procedure, and you must include in your learning agreement the description of your of the work you did for the thesis, and also the number of credits that would be recognized for the thesis. But the fact that you go abroad for your thesis does not imply automatically that if for the final test, final prova finale, you have 18 credits, it doesn't mean that if you go to Royal Holloway for your thesis, you will get 18 credits, because the 18 credits are given to you after your dissertation, after your final dissertation. Regardless if you went abroad or you did not go abroad. This is not, as I'm trying to explain, I find it not very easy to do that. But hopefully it was clear. Otherwise, please contact us or contact the student's office, because they will tell you how to make it evident that you go abroad for your research thesis, and they will tell you which steps specifically to follow for your degree course. Okay, once that we are abroad, could we come back to Italy for a short period and then leave again and continue the mobility, or can we come back only at the end of the season? Okay, we are in the office. We don't come with you, coming and going from abroad. But of course, I'm joking. I would like to do that, but not at the moment. It's even harder. But however, the Erasmus has a start date and an end date. We don't interrupt nothing. So you start and you come back. During that period, you are an Erasmus student. You are in mobility. And you cannot have exam in Siena, and there cannot be didactical activities carried out in Siena during your Erasmus period, because during that period you are given a financial contribution, you are given an insurance, you are given a status of Erasmus student, and you are not allowed to take didactical activities in Siena, if this was the question. But of course, if you come back because it's your grandfather birthday or whatever can be a personal reason, you are free to do that. Of course, it must be a short period. It's completely up to you from the financial point of view, but you can do it if this was the question. Okay. If you want to stay longer, no, okay, if you want to stay shorter, then the period, should we attend the message from the host university? Yes, I would say that you must wait. You must wait for the first contact with the host university. And I said it at the beginning. This is very important. If it didn't happen that you got a message from your host university, and this will not happen in the next few days, please inform us, because there could be a problem. Because I nominated all of you already, at least I finished 1 week ago, even more. So if they did not contact you, maybe I made a mistake, or there is something, I had all the information and I did not process, so please inform us. And after that you receive this first message, you can start communicating with them, and also agree upon a shorter mobility. Next question, and then is really not the last, but almost the last. Is the visa contribute provided by the university given before or after the arrival, just like every other contribute? We had a discussion about that, because we are aware that this kind of contribution would be more helpful to receive it before leaving. We know that, but at the same time, unfortunately, many students do take the money. We did it before, and then it's very hard to have the money back, even if they decided not to leave anymore for any reason. So this is why we are not able to give money before you prove that you actually started the mobility. So this money, the 500 euro, will be given like the other contribution as soon as possible after that you are in the host university, and you send us the certificate.
Okay, look.
And last question.
In this moment, my colleague is not here.
To apply to the host university, I have to send a transcript with all my information. I did not understand how to get it. Of course, the transcript is other information. You must clarify which information they are, because normally you'll be asked your anagraphical data and your date of mobility and the transcript of records showing your previous studies. So for the first two, of course, it's quite easy. For the academic information, you must ask this transcript to the student's office, and will deliver you this information, this transcript, or they will send it to us and we will transmit it to the host university. So it depends.
Quindi per intenderci, Tiziana, sì, come devono, cioè per questo transcript che devono mandare, che deve essere in inglese, no? Come devono rivolgersi all'ufficio studente? Cioè, quale documento esattamente devono chiedere in italiano, così, perché me l'hanno chiesto, cioè è il certificato storico, sì, o sì, quindi devono chiedere un certificato storico in inglese, o c'è un altro modo di dire che devono?
No, professoressa, è il certificato storico in inglese, sì.
Ecco, ok. Sì. E ho capito bene, il certificato storico, se dicono che per motivi Erasmus, no, mi pare non ha un costo, o sbaglio? Penso
allora, non ha un costo, se lo dovesse avere, avevamo trovato Ora è tornato il corso. Allora, sto parlando con Simona perché lei sa queste cose meglio di me. Allora, avevamo trovato un modo per non far pagare gli studenti, ovvero gli uffici studenti mandavano a noi questo certificato e noi lo trasmettevamo alla università ospitante, in particolare all'indirizzo proprio dove lo studente lo deve mandare. C'è un problema adesso però, che è sempre più frequente, che spesso l'application è online, per cui lo studente deve upload il documento durante tutta la fase di
Infatti.
application. E questo appunto rende questa procedura che avevamo trovato per evitare il pagamento del certificato, la rende difficile da
Quindi voi
fare.
potete farlo mandare a voi e poi trasmetterlo allo studente, perché sono loro che devono fare l'upload, non so se mi spiego.
Sì, infatti quando c'è da fare l'upload, Simo ci vuole il certificato, quindi ci vuole
Sì,
l'ora.
quindi lo studente lo deve ricevere direttamente dall'ufficio studente didattica e quindi deve pagare il bollo.
Okay.
Purtroppo è così.
So I'm consulting with Simona because she is the one dealing with all the 500 students who are not going to UK, so she's more updated about it. And she's saying that yes, if it's to be uploaded and you must have it in your hands to upload it, then you have to pay the fee for the certificate to the student's office. So student must refer to the student office because all what is about the academic career, as you perfectly know, is a work for them. But then they will have to pay the fee to get the certificate in their hands. Some universities, but not all at all, can accept the printed version of the career from the secretary online of the student profile. But that's in Italian, so they should accept this an official version and a translation by the students. So sometimes they do accept it, but when we speak about UK university, I'm not sure that they would accept this.
Okay, so they'll need to ask for il certificato storico in lingua inglese.
Yeah, sì.
Ok, c'è un costo. Ok, questo non mi ricordavo appunto
Sì.
e me l'hanno chiesto. Grazie.
I don't like this solution, but I try
No.
to find another one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So that was the last question, and so it's time to finish our session. Hopefully it was useful. And once again, thank you so much for those who spoke and helped us with all this a bit complicated matter, but I'm sure that if we prepare things on time and if we keep in contact and try to share the information and to keep update about these new things, because Erasmus is not new at all, but this situation of UK is new to all of us, and combined with the COVID pandemic and all the stuff, it makes things a little bit more uncertain. But if we keep us informed and we share information, I'm sure that we can find the best solution to solve all the problems. So thank you, Professor Anderson, for your brilliant presentation and very helpful information, and also for speaking the good English much better than we do.
No, I just wanted to say, I'd like to remind the students that the Ufficio Internazionale also for years has done an amazing job in supporting students going to non-European destinations. All of the overseas, the bandi overseas. So, a lot of students have continued to go to places that are much more complicated than the UK. We're talking about Russia, we're talking about South. Okay, so please don't be discouraged. It can be done, and there are, and they're there to help, okay? They've done an amazing job for the US, for the Russia, there's a lot of places that have been a bit more complicated for years, and students have gone and really benefited from the period of study. Okay, so don't get discouraged just because it's a little bit more complicated than continental Europe at this point. It can still be done. Okay.
So thank you and see you soon. Grazie. Arrivederci.
finishing group.